The one and only John Forslund on hand for SportsUSA Radio last night as the Hurricanes won. I know it was 5-2, but it felt like more of a seesaw to me, especially the way the third period played out. But it was certainly entertaining, despite what you hear everybody talking about this series as the boring series. I don't get it. Playoff. No, there is no such thing as boring playoff hockey. John Forslund, you had a good seat for it. I heard you right over my right shoulder. What are your thoughts on Game 4 last night?
Number one, my friend, I hope it sounded okay.
Sounded great.
Number two, I'm so happy I was able to see it with my own two eyes because it was a revelation to me, just how well the Hurricanes are playing right now, because I don't think it translates over the dish. I don't think watching the games from afar, you get a real good feel for how solid they are as a team. Now, I think you're right. Even in the third game, it was a great start again for Washington that Freddy Anderson did his thing.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Last night, Washington played really well in the early stages of the game. And uncharacteristically, it developed into a rush chance game back and forth. But as the game went along, and as you analyze each play and each situation within that game, the Hurricanes are absolutely dialed in as a team. And that's as solid a team game as I've seen. There are other series that have a little more angst, a little more excitement, maybe some more star power than you're going to see with this team. But if you go right through the ranks, the four lines of 3D and the goalie, I don't think there's a team as tight right now as the Hurricanes in terms of, how they're playing and their special teams. And that's why their penalty killing is so good, because they're that well coached. So you get to that penalty kill, and that's a real difference maker.
Yeah, 25 out of 27. One of the goals is a 5-on-3 goal. It was, and that was an elite shot. Although, as it turns out, it looked like it might have been deflected over top of Anderson, but still, bar and in. I think it was the junction between the left post and the crossbar. John Forslund is joining us here. Yeah, Carolina's defense has been outstanding. Freddie Anderson, in 8 games, because he was knocked out of Game 4 of the Devils series and didn't finish that one, has allowed just 11 goals. 11. Now, Anderson, for some reason, has a reputation of being just okay, and I keep hearing playoff Freddie. Playoff Freddie's numbers aren't bad. This year, he's been off the charts, but even historically, his numbers aren't bad. He's got almost a .920 save percentage in the playoffs. I'm not sure what everybody wants.
Well, the thing about Freddie Anderson over his career is he's so gifted and talented, he plays in a rocking chair. And he makes the position look very easy. And when he does get beat, you can look at the reasons why he gets beat, because he is so technically sound. He might be just a skosh off his angle. He might give up the odd 5-hole goal.
Yeah.
He might look lackadaisical when he does it, and then it's always blame the goalie. It's always been the case in hockey. It's very easy. It's like kill the umpire. It's like you blame the goalie. I mean, that's basically, what you end up doing. Now, in his career, he's got a lot of battle fatigue, right? He had to play in a hockey-centric market in Toronto and go through some real tough situations that are hard to get by mentally. And I think it probably, and I'm not a psychologist, but I think it probably scarred him a little bit, and he's got to get through that as an athlete. Anaheim was kind of a same situation as a younger goalie, but he was terrific. I mean, I was there for a lot of those playoffs, and he was absolutely great. So now here he is, and to me, you touch wood and you hope he's healthy, because he's back to what he does so well. He's a goalie that can play in this system where he can stand there a lot, and then all of a sudden there's a chance and you better be ready, and he is. And he makes it look easy, and his direction with his rebounds seems to be spot on and better. So when he's spitting them out in the front, like, most goalies can get victimized that way, but for him, he's not the best at recovery saves. I think he's got to make that first technical save, and then the recovery saves have been an issue for him. Other goalies are better at that. But he basically is controlling the puck. He's swallowing it. He's melting it down. He's getting face-offs, and he's directing most of the shots to the corners. So, yeah, he's right on where he needs to be. He's the best goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, right now. And statistically speaking, Logan Thompson is second. Jake Ottinger has certainly found his stride. It is hard to believe, and if we have time, we'll talk about it. Connor Hellebuck looks utterly lost, and it's unbelievable. Yep. This is what the mental side. This is why whenever I talk about sports, I always talk about the psychology of it, because you just never know what the mind will do or prevent the body from doing. I want to talk. You talked about the way Freddy is controlling rebounds. When there are rebounds, Carolina's defenders in front of him have been very good. Jacob Slavin is, we all know what Jacob Slavin is. They finally figured it out during Four Nations. Bless their hearts. But Sean Walker played the third period almost exclusively with Slavin last night. And Walker led them in ice time on the blue line in Game 3. It was a little bit of an injury to Jalen Chatfield that allowed that. But Sean Walker is a guy that has just gotten better and better all year long. Wasn't he a healthy scratch at some point for Colorado in the playoffs last year?
Yeah, he did. They were not enthralled with anything that he brought, and it's one of those deals. It either works or it doesn't. When you get a player at the deadline, you guys know how that works, and so. That's another tough adjustment for the players. I mean, when you talk to players about what they go through at the trading deadline, it's easy for fans to say, well, they're highly compensated. They can take care of this and just join a new team. Listen, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in their lives. And if it's not all in tune, and if it doesn't go right, it can become a nightmare when you're living in a hotel for 2 months and, everything's strange to you but the rink, right? So that's hard. I worked last night with a great Jimmy Fox, who's been legendary with the LA Kings as a player, as you know, and a great analyst over the years. And he was so happy for Sean Walker because he watched him in his early years with the LA Kings. He thought there was potential there. And he and I had Walker as the best player in the game. I mean, he was just unbelievable last night. I'll tip my cap to you because you told me before the game that, how well he's playing, and you should scout. Maybe you are, and I don't know it. Something's working here for the Canes. But anyway, it was a great game because, again, he's able to skate better than most. Yeah. He's able to bail himself out if he does take a gamble. He's perfect for this system. He's perfect pinching. He's perfect when he has to hit a hole offensively, as he did in a very critical goal last night. Yeah. By and large, he can eat the minutes, too, because he's a really good skater and a great athlete. So he can eat the minutes next to 74, who I'm going to keep going with this. We're going to get this guy a Norris Trophy. It's got to happen. Because if you can get 40 points is pretty good, and he's usually in the neighborhood of 40 points. But this whole offensive defenseman thing, defensive defenseman, I don't understand it. I think it's another conversation for later, but Jacob Slavin at the upcoming Olympics will prove how great he is. And then we'll see. And then maybe we won't have to get 100 points, no offense, Quinn Hughes, but, Erik Karlsson and all these guys. But listen, Erik Karlsson can't carry his luggage defensively or as a total player, okay? Even though Erik Karlsson's had a great career and has won 3 Norris trophies, I believe. and this guy can't even get a sniff for Norris when you're supposed to defend. Isn't that the Webster's defining line here on the position? I think so. He's
a defenseman, right? But if you don't hit home runs, you can't win a Gold Glove, John. You have to understand that. You have to be able to hit home runs to win a Gold Glove in baseball.
So Mark Belanger could never do it again, and you got to look that one up. Most of the fans would have to. Yeah.
I think there are a fair amount of Oriole fans here that would appreciate the Mark Belanger reference. John Forslund is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Look, the Hurricanes went out. They took a swing on the Mikko Rantanen deal. Didn't work out for them. I thought Mikko played pretty well the first, before Four Nations. They didn't have any puck luck. He didn't really get much out of it in terms of scoring points. And then after Four Nations, he checked out. And so that was never going to end well. I'm glad everybody's happy. Mikko's playing great, and it's fun to watch him. I have enjoyed watching him take over games, even if most Hurricanes fans are still hate watching the Dallas Winnipeg series. I don't blame him. I'm fine with it, but I have enjoyed it. But the reason they went out and got Rantanen was because they weren't sure that Andrei Svechnikov was ever going to be that guy now. Now, I'm not saying he's Rantanen, but playoff Andrei is a problem for the other team. I have enjoyed watching playoff Andrei.
Yeah, and he's just got to become playoff Andre, regular season
Yes.
Andre at some point in his career, because he's capable of it. And maybe this is going to, hammer it home. Maybe if this continues and you're not there yet, you got to go to Washington, and you never know what can happen in a series. But say, as we play with this a little bit, that he has a great run here, and they go really deep, and he gets a chance to play for it. And if he ever gets a chance to win the Chalice, maybe that, sells it in terms of what he needs to do, because he can be a star. He is a star, but he can be a superstar if he wants to commit to some things that help him in the playoffs. You can do that in the regular season too. You're
allowed.
It is allowed. It is allowed to just be a consistent, reliable guy that can play in all the fine details of the game, is within the framework of the team game. Stay on your discipline. Don't take your penalties, and break open a game, because game breakers in the NHL are hard to find.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he's been good. The first couple of games of the Devil series, none of their top guys were good. They just won games. And now we're starting to see, even though Aho and Jarvis have been a little bit, sleepy offensively in this series, it's good to see them combine on the second goal. I thought it was good play by both of them. The Andre has been more of the goal scorer, which is really, frankly, what he probably should be. But don't you think Carolina's kind of winning this series with their depth?
Yeah, they are. They're because it's shift after shift, and it's the follow-up shifts that's keeping them in a position to take over games. So when Washington has 2 or 3 chances right off the hop, and there were a couple of real good sequences where Rod rolls a line and they do well, and they do what they need to do to press the other team, and then the next line comes out and does the same thing, and the next line comes out and does the very same thing. So that's the secret sauce that they do have, is that internal depth, that the players all look alike and they all play the same way. That's honestly a good thing, although people take shots at that too.
They do.
But that's what you want. That's what you want in a hockey game. And if it's 12 plus 6 and 1, and sometimes you have to get to the other goalie too. But that's what wins. As cliche as that sounds, and you need your guys in the moments, like Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night need Austin Matthews. Okay, in that game, in my opinion, they need him. Whether he's hurt or not, we'll find out. But somehow he's got to fight through and be at the head of it, so that the rest of these guys can move along. That's where that series is at. For the Hurricanes, it will appear, and it certainly did early in the second period. It was a great play. They took advantage of the ice they were given at the attacking blue line. Aho made a tremendous play. Thompson probably would like to have that whole sequence back. He paused the puck. It goes off the metal. It ends up on Jarvis's stick. But as we said on the air last night, if you play well, and it's always been the case in hockey, you earn the luck. And so the bounces that go the way of the Hurricanes are fortuitous, but for a reason. And that's what's so great when they're on their game, and they are on their way the way they're playing.
All right, we will leave it there. John Forslund, Seattle Kraken play-by-play voice, NHL on TNT and Sports USA. Congratulations. I know your son is graduating law school. That's awesome. Yes. And certainly good that you don't have to keep the tuition bills. And I appreciate you, and I'll see you during the conference finals.
Yes, Matthew Forsland is going in the Junior Hurricane Law School Hall of Fame.
Well, congratulations. I want to be invited to that ceremony.
Okay, you will be. You will be.
Thanks, John.
Short-lived. Okay, take care.